Well, we've been here before, haven't we? We're in great form, but there's a team above us that just will not lose. And today, we're in action against bottom of the table, which is normally the game where it all goes wrong. So here we are, perched second in the table, 1 point behind FCSB, who will not lose a game. They've come unstuck in Europe a couple of times, but in the league, they have been an immovable force. Hammerstadt are the only team to even get a point against them. Otherwise, they've won all of their games. But we've not been in too bad form either. We lost our second game straight after our first episode with Cluj, but since then, we've won every other fixture. If we show you the form that we've been in, having won our first game of the season, we went down in our second game 3-2. We didn't look particularly good in this game either. The opposition had an XG of 2.44. We had an XG of less than 1. They took the lead through a penalty very early. We equalised, but then they were back ahead before the hour, before Gabby goal got us level. But then they scored a winner 10 minutes from time. And so I made a very early call to do away with the tactic we'd used for those first two games and instead go with something different. And since then, we've won every single game. And we've been keeping plenty of clean sheets as well. We'll show you that tactic in a moment. But the first game we used it in, we won 2-0. Gabby goal getting us the first goal and young Alex Cardos getting us the second. We won 2-0 in our next game after that as well. Syrian got his first goal of the season, and then Gabby goal scored a penalty before a couple of games against two testing opponents. First of all, Dynamo Bucharest, who we managed to score 3 goals against. Unfortunately, we let in 2. Syrian scored the first, Chvet got the second, and then Gabby goal stepped up from the penalty spot to seal us the win just a couple of minutes from time. But in the next game, we played Constanta, who are quite near the top of the table, but we demolished them 4-0. Syrian scored, Morgosh scored a great free kick goal. Gabby goal got his customary goal. And then Markovic, playing as part of a 3-man strike force, got the 4th for us very late on in the game. There were fewer goals for us in the next match. We only won 2-1, but we had 25 shots in this game, 12 of them on target. And it was a brace from our man Dubulja, which apparently, according to our Croatian native speakers, means fat man in Croatian. And he was on the score sheet again in our next game, the derby against the other team from Cluj. We had 28 shots, 14 on target, an XG of almost 3. A young player called Munteanu, who came into the team, got the first for us, and Gabby goal stepped up from the penalty spot to put us 2-0 up after just 14 minutes. We then played Hermannstadt, who FCSB could only draw 0-0 with, and we put 3 goals past them, Markovic, Dubulja and Pervu scoring the goals for us. Before our most recent fixture, it was a cup game against the other iteration of Steaua Bucharest. They're in the division below. We managed to score 4 times against them. Goals from Dubulja, Pervu, another from Dubulja, and then Pervu getting his second of the game gave us a 4-1 victory to allow us to progress in the cup. All of which means we are 9 league games into the season, 1 cup game as well, and our mate Gabriel Dubulja has scored in every single one of those games. He also scored in all 3 of the friendlies that we took charge of, so he is on an incredible streak. He's probably the top marksman in Europe right now. We've brought you back for a game against bottom of the table Arad. They have only got 2 points all season. It would be great if Gabigol could get another goal and keep his streak alive, but you are very wary playing these lower ranked teams. We've been doing great things on the pitch, but we've got some updates to bring you off the pitch where we've made a couple of transfers. So we've made 2 loan signings in the shape of Virgil Gita, who joins us on loan from Valencia, and then an attacking midfielder by the name of Kathleen Sergian, who joins us on loan from Watford. If you recognise those names, that's because they were our players at the start of the season. I have sold them both and loaned them back. My reasoning was that Brentford kept chasing Sergian. He was incredibly upset that I'd not allowed him to join them, and the board actually accepted one of the offers that Brentford came into. I appealed it, the board backed me, but I could smell other clubs circling, and I knew that if the board accepted another offer, there would be no opportunity to plead with them a second time. So I decided to take matters into my own hands and I sold him. So he's joined Watford for £2 million plus sell-ons and plenty of add-ons. In all honesty, he's not been that great for us. He got 3 goals in 7 games before he left, but he only averaged 6.97. And since he's come back in on loan, he's played 2 games, not contributed a goal or an assist, and has got an average rating of 6.85. But another player that we sold for the same reasons, Valencia were circling. He wasn't as fussed about leaving, but I know that the board might get trigger happy, so I decided to negotiate an offer to sell Virgil Guita as well, a 28-year-old central defender who's played very well for us so far. He had an average rating of 7.49 before we agreed the transfer, and he's got an average rating of 7.05 since he arrived back. We actually sold him for even more money, 2.7 million, plus we've got add-ons and sell-on clauses in place for him as well. So I think we've looked after Cluj financially with those deals. They've got more than £7 million in the bank, and whoever comes in as manager after us is going to have almost £6 million to spend replacing those players. But it does mean that whatever state Cluj are in next season, they're going to have to make do without two of their better players. But we are the Mercenary, so we've at least secured their services until the end of the season. But back to matters on the pitch now, and let's show you the tactic that we have changed to. I will warn you, it's a little less subtle than what we were playing in the first game of the season. We've now gone for this hammerhead shark kind of shape, a 4-2-4 in essence, with a number 10 in behind three central strikers. It's a little unorthodox perhaps, more of a championship manager throwback kind of formation I would say, but it's been very effective so far. I'm not sure we'd use it in our very big matches. I think when we have to play FCSB, we might just bring one of these strikers and settle into a diamond midfield formation to give us a little bit of extra protection. But in the games against opponents who've been pretty tough to break down, this three-man strike force with a number 10 in behind and fullbacks who have been rampaging on has been pretty effective so far. Let's show you some of our top performers, starting with a man that I didn't think would quite have the legs to be an overlapping fullback. But at the age of 33, Vasily Morgosh has more than proved me wrong. He's averaging a 7.9 from right back. He's galloped up and got 4 assists, plus a wonderful free kick goal. He has looked incredibly good. The other player that's played very well is a midfielder, Lovro Cvek, our second Croatian. He's another veteran. We started off playing him on the right side as the box-to-box midfielder. Nana wasn't playing very well as the more defensive-minded midfielder, so we've moved Lovra over. He's averaging a 7.29. He's got 2 assists and a goal to his name as well, and it's meant that we've brought in Florescu to be the box-to-box midfielder as well. And poor old Nana, suspended today. Nana, she got a little bit angry in a previous game, but Nana's going to be more of a bench player for us. But the player who's been most instrumental in this run of form is Gabriel de Boulia, who's now valued at anything up to £3.6 million. We've got 11 goals out of him in just 9 appearances, an average rating of 7.61. Amazingly, this goal streak has only enabled him to be player of the match on 2 occasions, but today he could make it a goal in each of his first 10 appearances for the season. It's not going to be easy, even though we are up against the bottom side. Last season, they finished above Cluj in the league. Let's show you everything you need to know in today's Scout Report. Today's opponents have travelled all the way from the west of Romania, from the city of Arad, close to the Hungarian border. And today we'll be taking on UTA Arad, a club founded by textile workers from the city, who managed to amass 6 title wins between the 1940s and 1970s, as well as 2 victorious cup finals. Last season was a strong showing for Arad as they finished 3rd and qualified for Europe, but their charismatic head coach knows that he can't trade on former glories as Dan Alexa's men are currently sitting bottom of the table and are embroiled in a relegation battle. But might today be the day that they start their revival as CFR Cluj take on UTA Arad? So a home game against bottom of the table, a team that have only got 2 points all season, have not registered a win, is clearly where it's all going to go wrong. We're up against a tough opponent in their manager Dan Alexa as well. I'm a bit intimidated if I'm honest. I daren't look directly into those eyes of his, but could we get off to another good start today? We have been scoring lots of early goals in the games that we've been playing so far, as you'd probably expect with a tactic that really is quite gung-ho. I would love to score early again today and just stamp our authority in this game. We've got less than 10 minutes on the clock. We've got the ball out to our rampaging left back. And Syrian has a good curling effort from the edge of the box. This is definitely a player we want to get a little bit more out of. So far, for our best player, I don't think he's really contributed too much at all. It's corner time again. Cvek's on it. He sent the ball in. And have we won another penalty? The referee's going to have a look at it. If he has won a penalty, it's going to be Gabigol that could take it. He's scored 4 pens already, and he's going to step up for a 5th one now. This could be his 10th consecutive league game that he's scored in. Don't miss now, Gabigol. Don't miss now. Of course he doesn't miss now. Gabigol has now scored in all 11 games we've played this season, 10 in the league, 1 in the cup, plus 3 pre-season friendlies as well. Gabigol's on fire. Romanian defences are terrified. I don't think I've ever witnessed a scoring streak like it. But on 30 minutes, we're into the highlights again. Munteanu has got a ball through to Debellia. This time Gabigol runs wide and gives it back to Morgosh, the right back. We've sent a ball in, and there is Gabs again. He is such an aerial threat. I think he's only 6'2", but he's got great strength. He's got reasonable jumping reach, and he just powers these headers past the keeper. He starts the move by giving the ball to Morgosh, and then he just ghosts into the box, and look at him rising like the proverbial salmon. And he thumps that header home 2-0 after just 30 minutes. Markovic drops deep. Munteanu, the poacher, comes deep. And now we've got the ball through Cvek, and here's the left back, Operate. It's 3-0. I think we can say that this game is looking comfortable now, and that's the first time we've seen our left back pop up that close to goal, I think. He's done a good job of swinging in some crosses during the early part of the season, but now he's raced into the box. He's gone one-on-one with the keeper. He's actually taken that on his least favoured foot. I think he's given the keeper the eyes. He's sent him down to his knees, placed it down the side of him. And we've got an XG of 2, 9 shots on target, 10 as we go into the half-time break. I think even I'm going to have to tell the players that was a very good first half. We're on 48 minutes. Morgosh, the right back. You can see how far advanced he gets up on the pitch, and also how instrumental he's been in our play. These 2 fullbacks just keep bombing on, and this time they've managed to craft a goal for our on-loan Watford player. We've got Morgosh, gives the ball into Gabigol, I think. It's Florescu, then it's Gabs, and Syrian comes forward and scores his first goal since his move to Watford was confirmed. I think that makes it his 4th of the season. And if we could drag a little bit more out of him and get the number 10 playing a little bit more creatively, more assists for the front 3, then again, it's going to be helpful for us in trying to mount our title challenge. We're still only 52 minutes into the game. We're 4-0 up already, and we're coming forward again. It's that man Morgosh up from right back. Age is just a number to this boy, but the man who is all about the numbers is Gabigol. That's hat-trick number 1 for the season. That is another great goal to add to his collection. He's not all about the headers and the aerial play. This time, showed a little bit of craft, a little bit of technique to volley one right into the side netting. We're 5-0 up. I think this early on in the game, we could probably make some substitutions. So we've made that change at centre-half, and we've brought Gabigol off as well, because the last thing we need is an injury to probably our most important player. Not just for his goals, but for his build-up and link-up play as well. You saw how he assisted for one of those earlier goals as our opponents have the audacity to rob us of our clean sheet. We've got 15 minutes left till the end of the game. We're going to make one more change, and I think it's going to be at left back. We're going to have to fashion something here. I think Morgosh is going to have to go and play out on the left. And we're going to bring on another youngster, Viral Vlad. Everybody's heard about him on the internet. He's a youngster with some limitations, I must admit. The squad at Cluj is not honestly that deep once you head out of the starting 11. And we're having to blood some youngsters in order to try and bolster the squad a little bit. We're also having to play a Romanian under-21 in every single minute we play this season, as that's one of the league stipulations. And we're having to pack the bench with some alternatives, so we've always got youngsters to choose from. So after some pretty uneventful episodes at Austria Wien, we've at least bought you goals today, but you can see how difficult an opponent FCSB are going to be to overcome. Another 3-1 victory for them today, but if you're on the lookout for a new Football Manager adventure of your own, why don't you go and check out this video next?